This is Fast Sally, and what I'm doing is I've decided to try to make a cutaway lock. This is chamber number 3 that's cutaway. I found that that's a little bit too big, but it is usable. So I am going to hopefully be able to use this to test out pins as I'm making them to see how they respond to threads and versus not being threaded. So I did a combination. So the first in the plug is going to be the first chamber. I'm going to do an undercut, and then in the second I am going to only thread the Bible. In the third, I'm only going to thread the core. In the fourth, there's not going to be any threading except for the very top where I have the set screw that will be able to be easily taken off. That needs to be threaded just for the set screw. And then number 5 is fully threaded, both the core and the plug. So this is how I need to thread number 3 in the core. And I just have, it says it is a 632, but so I should be able to just use the tap and this little tool here to thread. And but what you can also do is, if you just have the little tap, is to just use a pair of vice grips, and that's what I'll do on chamber 2 of the Bible. And you just have to make sure that you knock out all of the little slivers. And you also have to be very careful when you pin it up, just to make sure that if you put any serrated pins or anything in there, that it doesn't get locked up and just stuck, because otherwise, if someone goes to pick it, they can just lift it up and and it could get stuck in the Bible. So pin in chamber 2 here is threading using a set of vice grips to hold the tap. If your fingers are strong enough, you can actually sometimes do it with your hands, but I cannot do that. Not normally. I can only get it started that way. All right. So now we have everything tapped that we need to do. Sorry for the loud banging. I already did 5 in both the core and the Bible. So that's how you do that. I will be back to work on my cutaway and the other slits so that I can see the pins, so that it is an actual cutaway. Getting ready to put the undercuts on number 1, and I'm going to go ahead and do that on both sides, although I will need to fill in these construction holes so that if I'm testing T-pins or anything like that, they do not get stuck in these holes. That would be very bad news. I need to change my bit on my Dremel, and I'll be right back. Okay, as far as the bit for the Dremel, the attachment for the Dremel, I sometimes use this rounded diamond to work on undercuts, but I also use this cutting tool. It works very well. It has sharp edges, and sometimes I use both. First, the cutting to cut, and then the other to smooth it out. decent undercut. It's a little bit hard to do when you're just holding it. I usually have it down on something solid, but that'll give me some basic undercuts. I'll fix it a little later if I need to. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drill just a little starting hole toward the top, but not the very top of chamber 1. This is just so that I have something to put my Dremel in to get a good start. I'm going to use that same cutting tool, or almost like a big engraving tool, and I'm going to use that to start cutting away, and it will take some time and go straight down on number 1 of the Bible. Okay, so I have some 632 set screws here, and I am just going to load up chambers 2 and 3 to test it out, see how it looks. And I did, because there is a set screw that will be taking up some space, I did make the springs just a little bit shorter. So I will go ahead and load up 2 and 3 key pins, number 3 driver, number 2 driver, and then the spring, the cut spring into, oh boy, just make sure that it goes the cut side up. And then for the set screw. Okay, so here is the cutaway. Yeah, it looks like you can, let's make sure, turn it, and they do go below the shear line. I'm going to check it out to see. I know number 3, you can see the shear line, and number 2, you can see the shear line pretty well. I need to do a little bit of cleanup. That works fairly well. I'm going to see how it looks if I'm picking. We'll give it a shot. Oops. I need to go in there and make sure that nothing is catching. That's a little hard to do, but you get the idea. You can see, and they did drop back down, so that's good. So nothing's getting too caught up, but I'll definitely need to go in there and make sure everything's smooth. All right, so I have it keyed back up. I do have the rest of the cutouts. I was able to get into one. We'll see how that works. I'm again going to put the clip on so that things don't jiggle around too much. Oops. And I'm just going to start with one. Might have to do a little bit more fine filing just to make sure that everything's free and clear. And also use some more air to blow out all the little bits from all the grinding that I did. All right, so we've got a little bit of an issue in 5. Might get hung up a little in 1. But we'll go ahead and take the key out, see how everything goes once we have springs in, and get everything screwed in. again, I did trim all these springs. All right, I'm gonna screw everything in. All right, had a little bit of a blooper. I went to put the set screws in, and I completely forgot to thread the tops of, make sure all the tops of the chambers are threaded for the set screws. But I do have this done. As you can see, everything is in its proper resting place. Going across the shear line, I see that number 4 could be a little bit, the cut could be a little bit lower, just so you can see everything that's going on. Can't quite see the shear line in 4, but the rest of them you can see pretty well. I have a little bit of touch-ups to do, but I think it does have a little bit of a hang-up, but I think it will work pretty well for testing out pins in different chambers, whether they be threaded or undercut, and whether they're threaded in all the way smooth, or threaded in just the core, or threaded in just the Bible. So thanks for watching, and as always, just if you see a lock and it's not yours and you don't have permission, or if it's in use, just walk on by and leave it alone. Thanks for watching.